bastardizing our childhood and the classics.
Chris.
Nintendogs drove me. It's what makes me want to hurt people.
Radical.
People in general still bitch about everything. It still doesn't change.
Let the podcast begin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the VCR Podcast, the only podcast that predates itself from the moment the title is spoken. However, you'll notice a different face in the one spot there, and actually not even a face at all for that matter. I mean, if you're watching the video version, if you're listening to the audio version, you're like, what pictures are you speaking about, you crazy person?
To explain, Chris is on a gag order right now by us. He's there.
Of all the people that would get a gag order on this podcast, he's the last one that would get one, so that's already a complete bullshit. That's like flat Earth fucking conspiracy shit right there.
Okay, for one thing, it's that meme going around from The Office was like, what's the difference between this picture and this picture? It's the same picture. So that pint of Guinness and Chris's portrait, it's the same picture.
But yeah, Chris is not here with us. He is getting set for a move, so he is kind of a little bit busy at the moment. So it is just the VR podcast today, which I'm sure is not trademarked anywhere.
Oh, good God, it's hideous. I can see Adam so clearly. It's terrible.
I know it's pretty dastardly.
Oh, good God!
How could you possibly get by seeing these dashing looks of mine? All right, I'm done.
Very easily.
Yeah, I guess so. It's probably going to be a shorter show, and I actually can almost assume that I actually might be right in this because we have one less person to talk about stuff. So I have a pretty good feeling that when I actually say I think this will be a shorter podcast, I might actually be right this one time.
It might be true this time. And also, it's just, there hasn't been a lot going on.
I mean, there's a few stories here and there. There's more like some like shit that I want to talk about that's more of just an all-encompassing thing. There's no like major story as per se, besides, PlayStation's new update fucking not working at all. But that's all. That we'll get to that in a moment. But for the time being, it is the usual intro of the show. So we will start with Vish. What have you been up to in the last 7 days? Aside from tech issues, I should say.
Yes, well, I had a lot of tech issues. So I will start by a usual topic that I discussed because the season's over. The Boys season finale was absolutely insane. There was a lot of legit, like, mind-blowing shit that happened. It's funny, the Boys creators thanked Amazon for lack of censorship. And it shows because it's legitimately like Game of Thrones level brutality sometimes in that show. And the main villain who was introduced this season, for the ones who have not caught up on the show yet.
Well, try not to get too spoilery, right? So
yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to say anything.
You don't want to give anything away at this point. Yeah. The Boys is too fresh.
There was one legitimate mind-blowing episode, the second to last season. It had a legitimate mind-blowing ending to it, and the mind-blowing part was actually explained, and that itself was legitimately mind-blowing. It's like, oh fuck, like it's going to be next season is going to be really just, I don't know where they're going to go with it. And if there's a lot of shit that is kept secret from other characters, and if it is revealed of what that shit is being kept from other characters, then shit's gonna hit the fan, and there's no telling what some extremely unstable characters and people on that show are going to revolt like. It's going to be insane. So I game wise, I somewhat started the Shadows of Mordor game just to get a little bit of a feel for it, because I was just having one really rough day last week. So I kind of just spent the whole day just chilling and playing some games. It wasn't anything spectacular. I was playing Uno and Brick Breaker. If you ever want to calm down and chill, don't play Brick Breaker.
Yeah, why the hell did you do that?
I really have no idea. Maybe I just was so angry.
I think you just hate yourself.
I think I was just hating myself extra that day, and I decided to put myself through more misery. But that game is fun, but it's just the bounces, the reactions are too unpredictable. There's some of those paddle games where you can kind of realize how the rebound's going to move, and like if you hit it at a certain place, you can control the bounces. I just find in this game, it's very unpredictable and extremely difficult to control, and it's just the way the paddle moves with the controller as well. It's too stop and go. There's no there's no fluid like movement to it. But maybe we're just spoiled and we're used to games like that on touch devices where we can control the speed and the rebound, but this one you really can't, and it can get extremely painfully frustrating. Also, what else I've been doing is I don't know if anyone's heard, Amazon has been having a sale going on the past 2 days called Prime Days.
No, and no one's reacted to that either. No other like stores out there have made their own sales to try and compete with it.
Yeah, not at all. Sports Check didn't put out another flash sale. Best Buy didn't put out an anniversary sale, and what else came out today? Somebody else did something.
Too much. That's all we know. That's all we know.
Yeah, like Amazon. Steam put up something as well. So, it basically opened the floodgates. It's annoying because a lot with Amazon Prime, because there's so much you got to search for in the first place, and then like you have to wait for the sale to begin, and then when you put something in there, you have to pretty much you're buying a whole bunch of shit in like 6 different transactions. Like it gets really annoying. I get it. Like I appreciate the fact that I can get all this stuff at a much reduced rate, and I did some stuff that is actually I feel is going to help me with my broadcast of the podcast, because I did get a new webcam and I got a ring light as well. So the visual aspects of what I'm going to be displaying going forward are going to be significantly better, I feel.
So when it comes to your face in the podcast, you've put a ring on it?
Yes, because it's that beautiful and I loved it that much.
Well, in fact, the light might actually show too much of you. I think that might be the problem we run into later.
Please, if the light's going to make me turn into your summer color.
I mean, you probably get, a lot less racist comments if that was the case. It might be actually in your better interest.
I haven't got any yet.
Don't ask for it.
No, actually I have. There was one time. I was
going to say, don't say it out loud.
Yeah, no, there was one time I said something anti-hockey, and this one dumb fuck was like, they give you Hockey Night in Punjabi and this is what you say? I'm like, what? Like,
well, dumbasses aside.
Yeah. Oh, here's the best part. Guess where this guy was from?
Does it matter?
Florida.
Okay, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So that's really I've been on Amazon Prime the past few days, just like trying to get some stuff to help me improve. I've had some really good news today, and it is going to be really.
He's
good
finally starting his OnlyFans account.
No. I have to wait a few months for that. I gotta drop a.
Damn.
Oh, were you actually gonna subscribe? I appreciate that.
Well, somebody's gotta.
I appreciate that. No, I definitely. It's gonna be really good for myself, all around, professionally and personally. I will be able to get a lot done. I'll be able to help make some of my own personal goals come into fruition. And so today I really focused on some some professional development stuff. I got a new backdrop which should be less translucent than the other ones I have, and this one's also wider, so I don't have to keep such a tight angle on any of my photography that I do. And also I got the ring light, as I mentioned. I got an external microphone for my DSLR as well, which I'm hoping can work on my mirrorless. And I got a few other things. Honestly, I got so much on Amazon Prime today that I'm pretty sure about 30% is going to go back because it's Amazon. And also I was looking at remodeling the basement to help me where I'm filming, just to try to make it a little prettier, I guess, and a little more accessible and a little more open. So that's going to be my project. But gaming wise,
Sex Dungeon?
No.
Damn it.
No.
Well, geez, apparently you're having all the fun here, and here I am, like, all the good stuff's not coming. God damn. There's not getting an OnlyFans account right away. There's no Sex Dungeon. Like, it's not even Friday yet. This is bullshit.
Why? Okay, Adam, why would I make this sex dungeon if I haven't even started on the OnlyFans account? You start small, then go big.
I don't know. Sometimes I like starting out
Hey-o.
big.
And so yeah, that's been my week, and I'm gonna definitely get more gaming and other stuff in. Oh, I also remodeled my website. I changed the menus and the layout to make it a little more user friendly and a little more easier to navigate. So if you want to check out vishalsuse.com, there's a completely different layout menu wise and visual wise as well.
Then there's my dumbass who forgets that his website exists still. Half the time I go on my own website, which is askcsradical.com, unsurprisingly. Every time I go on there, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to post like a week's worth of shit on there. Oops.
And yeah. So on to you, Chris.
All right, thanks, Chris.
I think he's drinking Guinness.
Yeah, that's a pretty big pint from what it looks like from here. So, it is what it is. We're not sponsored by Guinness either, for anybody who's wondering, as much as Chris would like salivate at the idea of it.
Dude, I would
Chris would retire if he got a Guinness sponsorship.
I think we could all retire if we got a Guinness sponsorship, or at least
not me. What am I going to do with a Guinness sponsorship? I just give it to Chris.
You can sell yours on the black market or the stout market.
All right. You're all right, kid. Anyways, so aside from the usual stuff, I've still been doing a bunch of Sims because it's been my burner game. It's just been an easy game to just kind of throw on for a couple hours. I didn't get a chance to stream Night in the Woods again and maybe either finish it or get a little bit closer. I did finally get around to streaming a first half of Star Wars Battlefront 2's campaign, which I was surprised by, and then at the same time also like kind of underwhelmed by. Like, it's fine, like there's nothing absolutely wrong with it. I mean, it's certainly better than I would expect a lot of campaigns to be that were, off a license or anything like that. There's still some decent stuff. The story is all right. They do a lot of fan service because you're playing as some of the characters in there. At this point, I've already played as the major three. I've played as Luke, Leia, and Han. I have even played as Lando now at one point. So
have you played as Spock yet?
I think that's DLC if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay. I think that would cause a riot.
I don't know. I think people at this point, it's 2020. I think people are cool with this shit. I think they'd be okay with that. They're like, fuck it, why not?
I'm sure there's some fanboys who would actually.
Okay, but the fucking neckbeards in their parents' basement don't count. Okay.
Fair enough.
Either way, like jokes aside, the game has been okay. Like, I find that my one complaint is that the gunplay is a little too sticky. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. It's really.
Is this sorry, I'm not familiar with the game. Is this the one that you're playing attacking with combat in vehicles, right?
I mean, there are like starfighter missions and shit in it, but it's mostly like ground third person combat. So.
Oh, okay.
But the shooting, honestly, like, it seems too easy at points, and then at the same time, it can also feel really clunky. It's very strange in that aspect. Like, there are times where I feel like a fucking god because I literally can just line up headshots and be done. And then in a large group, you feel like you're a literal stormtrooper aiming at fucking everything and missing like 10,000 shots. It's fucking bizarre. So, I mean, gunplay-wise, which, I mean, I guess I've been Battlefield games in a nutshell for a long time because that's the company that made this game. It's a little weird. It's certainly not as good as I would like a third-person shooter to be. I mean, Mass Effect was a little bit better in that aspect from third person. If we're talking first person, I mean, obviously you got Call of Duty and Destiny are games that do the shooting so much more fluently. So it's one of those cases where I don't think the game is being sold on its core gameplay so much as it's the license and the story. And the story is average at best. So at this point, like, I'm sitting on this campaign being like, I'm enjoying it. Although there were a couple points in the missions where I'm like, this is stupid. There's one point where you play as Luke, and it's just a horde of these insects, and their hitboxes are fucking horrendous. So you're just hitting the trigger button, and you're just not, like, you're just hitting in the general vicinity, and it kills shit. Like, it doesn't feel like you're actually doing anything. Oh, you're just waving a lightsaber around like it's a fucking, like, fly swatter, but you might be hitting something.
That range of attack in old school gaming...
You don't feel like you're actually hitting. You feel like you're just putting it in the right direction. That's about the best way I can explain it. It feels very indie. Like, it feels like something that would have been made in like a Unity engine and could have been done by somebody who was working solo. Not Han Solo, just solo.
Damn it. It's no, that's a little outdated.
But I
That's
mean,
very
we kind of figured as much. I mean, I figured as much anyway because EA was kind of forced to put this into Battlefront 2 because people were so pissed there wasn't a campaign in the first one. So it does feel in a way that they kind of tacked it on a little bit. The only thing that's really kind of keeping my interest is the story because I mean the gameplay is okay at best. And again, it's more fan service and actually like really good story. It is a bridge between 6 and 7, like Chris would have mentioned on his talking about it. But I mean, like, it's not gonna do anything that makes you go, "Holy shit, this is like revolutionary." It's more just like, I mean, it's Star Wars, so cool, I guess.
So it's kind of like the Rogue One between 6 and 7, essentially.
Well, Rogue One was 3 and 4 because it was.
That's what. But I mean, the bridge between the two.
Well, yes and no, because Rogue One was actually a really good story, and this campaign is kind of. I'm not really attracted to anybody in this story. Like not even the classic characters. Like all the new characters are just like, okay, I guess. Like I don't hate the villains as much as I should hate the villains, and I don't like associate with the heroes as much as I should either. It's more just like, okay, it's a good versus evil story. Okay, I guess.
You really need to play Fallen Order.
Well, that's what I'm waiting for on Xbox Game Pass when EA Play goes onto it.
Yeah, because that one it's my favorite thing of the Star Wars canon.
But yeah, otherwise, like I'm not trying to make it seem like it's this campaign is bad. I'm just saying like it's not doing anything amazing. Like it's a good time sink. Like it's a 6-7 hour campaign. It's going to take me 2 streams. I'm pretty happy with that. So that's perfectly fine to me. Would I play this on my own accord? And if it wasn't for free, because I did get this for free in PlayStation Plus, probably not, because I don't care enough about this license that I'm that much of a sucker for it. And I have no plans to play the multiplayer. So really paying any amount of money for a pretty average at best 6 or 7 out of 10 campaign is not exactly the best use of money any more than like $10.
No, that's it. It really sounds like it's like, well, a 6 out of 10 is probably spot on for what
it's slightly above average. Like it's not bad. It's not doing anything crazy.
It seems like it's a step above Call of Duty Ghosts campaign.
Well, the only reason Call of Duty Ghosts gets anything is because there was a dog. Wait, was that the dog one?
I'm not sure.
Shit.
No, I think that was a Modern Warfare one.
Hey, Google,
or
help me.
That
help
was
me.
Advanced Wars.
No, it was Ghosts. I was right. It was Ghosts. Okay, so that's the only thing they had going for it. And the dog gets shot at some point, so you hear it whimper, and then all of a sudden,
you do rescue the dog.
That doesn't matter. You have to hear the dog whimper. It's painful.
Oh, I know. It yeah. There's some parts in Metal Gear 4, Metal Gear 5, where Diamond Dog can get hurt and then extracted, and it is just horrible to hear.
There is there was a bundle on Humble Bundle that was literally called Pet the Dog Bundle. So it's all games where you can pet dogs. And I'm like, that is a fucking smart one.
Well,
but there was a horror game in that, so I was like, no, thank you.
Well, Ghost of Tsushima added a new thing where it's now become significantly harder to not buy this game.
Yep, and then Spider-Man Miles Morales is like, here's Spider-Cat, and we're like, fuck. Stop making this so hard for me, guys. I can't buy any of your games because I have fucking Cyberpunk to wait for. Stop doing that to me.
If Cyberpunk comes out and it's as underwhelming as Battlefront 2, I think you may.
If Cyberpunk is anything less than an 8, I'm going to be pretty depressed, but I'm also not the hype bro that's going to fucking pitch a shit fit. I'm going to wallow in my own sadness, but I'm not going to take to Twitter and fucking send death threats to CD Projekt Red employees, which they're already doing, by the way, now that this crunch stuff is coming out, which we'll get to later as well.
Oh, fuck.
But it's just that thing where it's like, holy shit. I'll say it once, I'll say it twice, I'll say it 1,000 times if I have to. Stop fucking hyping yourself. Just be excited to play a game. Don't be excited to play the best game, because that will never happen.
I get it. I guess it depends on the franchise as well.
No. It's a blanket statement. I don't care what the franchise is. I don't care if you literally play what you think is the best game you've ever played. Don't go into the sequel of that game thinking it's now going to replace the best game you've ever played. And that's what a lot of people do. They act like this game is going to be game of the year. They act like this game is going to be their favorite game of all time. It's like, guys, it's 2020. A lot of shit's been happening. Tone down the expectations. And this isn't a 2020 thing. Just tone down your expectations, because as soon as you put the bar at an 11, you'll never hit the 11, so you're going to be disappointed. So you might as well put that down to an 8 or a 9, so that way, if it exceeds your expectations, you have a fucking amazing game. And if it doesn't exceed your expectations and is right around where you say it is, then you're not fucking disappointed. The entire culture that we have online with gaming is about being either overblown hyped about stuff or overblown disappointed. There's no middle ground, and I think people need to fucking start settling into that middle ground again, because I'm so tired of every other Reddit thread being either holy shit, this game is amazing, why hasn't anybody talked about this, or holy shit, this game's fucking terrible, why did anybody buy this? That's all this shit is now.
Well,
it's
yeah,
just,
I
know it's the hardest thing to ask for the internet, but just chill, bro. Just chill.
Adam, you're asking people to chill on Reddit.
I know. It's like I'm asking people to use their fucking brains. I know. What a horribly.
You're better off asking a raging bull to not attack you because you didn't eat meat that day.
I don't know what meat has to do with it, but okay.
No, just tell the bull I don't eat meat. I think you have a better chance of the bull not attacking you than telling people on Reddit not to get angry.
I don't think it's the same comparison, but either way. We will move on as we get into our quick stuff, the quickies, shall we say. I want to start off, for once on this fucking podcast, with a good fucking story. That's all I want to do. So
why couldn't you wait that till the end?
Well, no, I want to start off. I want to start nice and just work our way down to the fucking misery. I love leaving the show miserable. It's my favorite thing to do. So this tweet came from somebody who worked at Respawn, which are the guys that made the newest, well, I guess the Battle Royale thing that kind of, suddenly took Fortnite off its peg for a little bit, Apex Legends. So he was talking about how amazing a company that Respawn is. When all this talk about how terrible companies are these days in the gaming industry, this story really stood out to me. So I'm going to read this because Vish isn't going to see this tweet right off the top here. So this guy's name is John Schuring, I should say. Goes, and it's a multi-tweet thing here. It says, filed the voluminous paperwork to finalize my daughter's adoption today, reminded me of the last time I was at that courthouse here in LA. So the Apex Legends launch was weirdly late in the day, lunchtime Pacific Standard Time, evening in Europe, not when you'd expect. We had planned it for that morning, and then my court appointment to finalize my adoption came through. The court had picked February 4th at 10 a.m., the same time as the Apex launch. I panicked. Since I ran the OPS and the online services team for the game, this was bad. A bunch of employees at Respawn actually pushed the secret game launch time back so I could get to my court hearing and then race back to the office and manage the launch with everybody. It was an amazing moment for me, or amazing morning for me and my family, and that's why Apex launched at a strange time, around lunch on February 4th, 2019, because Respawn prioritized my family first.
That is, wow.
That is a great fucking story. And the crazy part of that is Respawn is owned by EA. And if EA had any word of that, they would have lost their shit.
Yeah, but here's to you, EA. No, that's wow. That reminds me of a Richard Branson quote where he says, take care of your employees first. They'll take care of your customers. And the fact is they were like, this is wow. Like I literally have no other words but wow, because there is, man, I'll tell you one time, I was out of the company by then, but at Best Buy, I know this one guy, a technician, his mother died. The asshole motherfucker of a manager forced him to come in that day.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me with retail at all.
Yeah, I know. It's like when I always say, retail managers are the biggest fucking bitches on the planet. No offense.
But speaking of bitches, we might as well stick with EA.
Okay. What they do this time?
FIFA 21 Legacy Edition, which AKA is the Switch Edition. So this is just a funny story. So I'm starting off with two fun stuff. So FIFA was copy and pasted last year from FIFA 19 to FIFA 20 Legacy Edition on the Switch. And this year, the exact same thing has happened on the Switch for FIFA 21. So IGN just had a little bit of fun with it and said, you know what? Since EA has copy and pasted their game for 2 years in a row, this year, we're going to copy and paste our review from last year's FIFA 20 on the Switch.
You might as well if it's the same fucking thing.
There's even no point of going further into detail. I just saw that story and went, that's fucking great. And IGN, for whatever reason lately, has actually been having some stones recently, which has been kind of interesting.
Have they also didn't they lower the score as well?
Yeah, they lowered it like a 2. But like they've been shitting on, like, they shit on the new NBA game, they shit on the new Madden. I think they shit on Avengers a little bit as well. Like, they're actually like being journalists and not just giving everything 8s and up, which is nice.
Yeah.
Because usually broken games, if they're mainstream, they still get 7s, which is kind of amazingly horrible.
Well, it's like you played Destiny a lot, and when Destiny came out, was it a 7 out of 10?
If I'm
that's
being
what they gave it.
If I'm being completely objective, what would have I rated Destiny at launch when I played it? Ooh. I would have rated it a 6, but I was enjoying it a lot more than what a 6 would give me. And the reason I would have rated it a 6 is because it wasn't actually that rewarding at the time, and that's the whole point of those games. Remember what I said about Avengers, where I talked about how the loot isn't rewarding because it doesn't change your character's look at all? It's just numbers.
Yeah.
That's kind of similar in a sort of case, although Destiny's loot does change something. The problem with Destiny's loot when it first launched, and this is stupid, and I don't know how this wasn't caught when they made the game in the first place. So with most of these games, there's common loot, uncommon, rare, epic, legendary. Legendary always being the best, or in this case, legendary is called exotic. And often more than not, if you get something that says it's an epic this, it's going to unlock something that's at least epic. With Destiny at launch, you could get an epic engram, which was basically a treasure chest, and you could get less than an epic item. So you would get all excited because you might get something good, and you wouldn't even get something like good that you wouldn't use just because it's not your cup of tea, I should say. No, you would get something that's literally not even what it describes. It'd be like buying a PS5 and getting a PS4. Like, that's really what it was. So that's why I would give it a 6, just because objectively, it was still a fun game to play, but there was a lot of shit wrong with it at the time.
There's also there was this one game, Tom Clancy's The Division, where it looked awesome when it was first revealed. But
I can attest to this too. I played that at launch. That was a bad idea.
And that game turned out to be a huge disappointment. I've never played it, but one thing I
deal.
hear, and
it's not bad. It's not a bad game. It's just there's not a lot.
Well, it's the whole thing is like when you upgrade, nothing changes apparently.
Well, no, there's upgrades, but it's real life.
I mean, there's no
crazy shit. Because when you play Destiny, it's space, so you can have this crazy ass pointy shit armor that's covered in fucking scales or diamonds. Whereas, what are you gonna do in like New York during a pandemic? You're wearing it's winter too. You're wearing a ball cap or a fucking toque.
In all fairness, we'll find out in about a month or two.
Sure, yeah, but. In a video game form, like, there was nothing fun. It was just very basic shit. The big legendary thing was like a beanie with a fucking purple top. Like, it wasn't anything special. Like, there wasn't like crazy, like fucking, I don't know, like steampunk or fucking what's the like Mad Max shit. Like, there wasn't anything like that. It was just regular clothes.
Well, it's like. I don't know, like, did the weapons change the aesthetics at all and, like, look different?
Not enough to make it substantial. It was the same deal. It was just camos, right?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like,
but there weren't even fun camos either. It's not like you had, like, fucking, like Lucky Charm rainbow fucking things. It was just, okay, this one's orange, this one's gray. Like, yeah.
That kind of, yeah.
It's just nothing special.
Because I was looking really forward to the game because when my buddy, also named Adam, actually, you know this one, not Adam Trump, everyone, when he showed me the video for it, I'm like, this game is going to be fucking awesome.
Dude, I saw that trailer and I'm like, this is going to be fucking amazing.
And it's like, wow, this is fucking lame.
Yeah, I did the exact same thing that Watch Dogs did, where I'm like, this looks fucking really good. I play the game. Oh, this is actually really, 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 really boring.
Well, then the new one's coming out, or it's out with the old lady, or the multiple characters.
Watch Dogs. I mean, if it's out now, I don't care because fuck Ubisoft, they're still in boycott. So
Yeah, legitimate. It's like they really need to. You know what? It's I think we bitched about Ubisoft a lot lately. So what's next on
we can never not bitch about Ubisoft enough, but they haven't done anything lately. So they get off the free pass for just doing fuck all.
Well,
that's the best Ubisoft can hope right now.
Yeah, and it's like what they're trying to do with Prince of Persia is fucking stupid. Like I loved that game. I still think it's one of the best games that was in that generation.
It's also a remake
PS2.
that looks like a shitty remaster.
No, it's all it is it's not even a remaster. It's a port. It's a PS2 game released on the next gen. It's literally there's nothing changed about it. The graphics are the same.
Yeah, it really doesn't look like they did much to it.
They didn't do anything to it. I'm expecting like a completely brand new like remake and everything.
Yeah, they were so desperate to do no work, they should have just brought the old NES game back.
No, they honestly, it feels like IGN when this game comes out should copy and paste the PS2 score and take away 5 points from it.
Well, I suppose we'll see when that fucking thing comes out, but
because it was ridiculous. Like the way when I saw it, I'm like, oh, it's sick. I love this game. And then I'm like, I see the trailer. It's like, are you fucking kidding? Are you is this like I was hoping it was April 1st. I legitimately was hoping it was April 1st. It was that bad for me just to see the way they did it. So, you know what? You're right. Fuck you, Ubisoft.
So, speaking of disappointments, Avengers. So, we obviously knew when it came out, or at least I told you guys when it came out, that it was not going to go very well because it seemed like a game that doesn't reward you and is pretty boring. And it seems to be that I'm correct because currently, on PC, the game can't even get 1,000 people concurrently playing it. An Avengers fucking game. An online multiplayer Avengers game can't even stomach 1,000 people to play it. That's bad.
Wow.
So people are having massive matchmaking problems now because of it. And it just goes back again to what I said. I'm like, I said it in a Fall Guys stream, actually. I was talking to one of my buddies. He was on with me, and we were just shooting the shit for a few hours. And I said, I don't understand how you can fumble the easiest layup I have ever seen in gaming history. All you had to do was make a marginally fun Avengers game that was just beating the shit out of fucking villains. If you just did that, you could have won. But they had to go the selfish route. They had to go the milk cow route. And they had to go the boring route. They had to go the game of the live service route. They had to do it.
This was a situation that they have arguably the most sellable license right now. The most easily sellable license.
It's not even a layup, actually. You know what? I'm wrong. They were like a child holding the ball, and fucking Shaquille O'Neal grabbed them by the legs and lifted them up to hover them over the net, and all they had to do was let go of the ball. And instead of just letting go of the ball, they went, and threw it to the side.
It's no, like how long? Like the Sony Spider-Man game is fucking amazing. The Arkham series is fucking amazing. Like this was something that was like, and even like Marvel's Ultimate Alliance. The first game was awesome. Like I loved it. It was
you could literally just put the original Ultimate Alliance on consoles right now, not charge a shit ton of money because that's what they did, and it would legitimately be better than this game. And that's disgusting because you know what? I'm gonna look up how late this was. I should probably not use that browser because that would take over the screen.
Ultimate Alliance came out in 2006, I believe.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
I believe 06.
It was October 2006. Actually, shit, it's 10 days away from being an anniversary.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
So yeah. And
so a game that is 14 years old is still better than this game that was made in 2020.
Honestly, like if we were all down to buy it to play together. And
We
then,
could have probably made Avengers fun.
yeah,
But for how long? That's the question.
And from what I hear, it's like unnecessarily difficult as well.
I haven't heard that. I've actually seen the opposite, that it's very tediously boring. I've seen full boss fights with 4 people, and it's literally just them all mashing square to punch. There's no mechanics to it. You don't have to like shoot around as Iron Man. You don't have to smash shit with Hulk. You don't have to like shoot from a distance with Black Widow or anything like that. No, it's just run up and just punch. That's it. So the whole point of Avengers is gone. Because if you wanted to go the punch, punch, punch route, you could have just done Ultimate Alliance again, because that's legitimately what those games are.
Yeah, and at least with that, like there was, like there everyone had their own strategy and everything. Because and also it's like one thing I loved about Ultimate Alliance, it was characters you usually don't get to play as. Like I had Ghost Rider, I had Thor, Iron Man. I forget my fourth.
Well, yeah,
one,
you could get like a shit ton of different X-Men too. So there was like so much more stuff.
Yeah. And it was characters that you just don't get to play as often because they just don't have, and they're not popular to have their own game, or they're not strong enough characters to have their own games. But it just was such a, I just don't get how they could have fucked it up.
This game is so bad that a lot of people are saying, I'm not even going to be here as a PlayStation user to get to Spider-Man. That's how fucking bored they are. Like, Spider-Man's not even going to bring them back, because there's no point. They might as well just play Miles Morales. Shit, why would you bother? Play a better Spider-Man game.
Or play as Spider-Cat. Like, come on.
Yeah. It's fucking... There are a lot of things in the history of gaming that I can't understand how they fucked up, and this is one of the biggest ones I can remember. Or I'm going to remember, I should say.
This was such an easy sell. All they had to do is make a relatively good game, and everyone here's like, a good Avengers game? Ding, I'm in.
The longer that I have thought about it, the more that I think they should have just made a single-player campaign and then put like fun co-op missions at like once in the end game, or like its own separate thing, like a horde mode or something like that.
Honestly, I think what they could have done is that, and make it like it was a Dungeons and Dragons thing.
What do you mean by that?
Like, there's different missions, there's different like quests, and you get to choose your character and carry on in that.
Well, no, but that's what they did. Like, that's what they tried to do, and they failed. What I'm saying is what they should have just done was the entire story is just single player. No co-op, no multiplayer for this campaign. Just make a good campaign, because at least you can focus on that, and it's hard to screw that up. It's really hard to screw that part up. Then, if you want to do multiplayer stuff, have like these horde modes, or just say like, here's what we call like a boss rush. So you go through this map. It could just be a copy and pasted map from like one of the missions in the story, and just go, okay, here's this room of enemies, here's this room of enemies, and then here's a boss at the end. Maybe you create like a couple new assets for that. But even if you just did that, that would still be better, because without the game as a live service stuff, without the always online and the RPG elements to it, you wouldn't have all this boring gameplay.
Do it like Left 4 Dead, where
because if you do it in a single player campaign, you have separate missions for separate characters, so you don't get bored by playing Iron Man 1,000 times just to get all of his abilities unlocked. You would play, okay, this one's Iron Man, this one's Black Widow, this one's Ms. Marvel, this one's Thor. Like, you can do that.
That was the one thing that disappointed me about the what's it called? Disappointing about the what's the game I can't think of right now? Yeah, the Smash Brothers Ultimate story mode. Because as you mentioned, well, it's like you could choose your character for each level. That's what was so good, and that's why Smash Bros. Brawl is my favorite one, because that story mode was so well balanced, and so is the roster, that you got to play as a different character in each level of the story mode. Where this one, you could play as Link for everything. You could play as, once you get a character, you can just use that character for everything.
Yeah,
and it took away the balance of it. And like you said, like that's the best way to do these story modes, is to have different characters for different missions. Like, actually, you know what is a prime example of that is the Lego Marvel game, or Lego Avengers, because
the Lego games are fucking great for that.
They actually did that.
Like, that's the other thing too. The Lego games probably do a better job with that license than this game did. Fuck, it's just crazy.
It's just
I digress. I don't want to depress myself any further with a game that could have been. I'm so glad that I didn't get on the hype train for that. I'm so glad that when I first saw it, I went, I don't know if this is going to be good, guys. I'm glad that my red flags went up immediately because I was fucking right.
it's such a.
But
I don't
anyways,
know.
why don't we?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, why don't we just move on before we start crying and just completely ruin the stream?
Too late.
Yeah, I know, right? So a couple things related to PlayStation, one good, one bad. So first, we'll start with the good. They went through a lot more of what the backwards compatibility is going to be like between PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Basically, almost every single game that's on PS4 is going to be playable on PS5. Now, there might be functionality issues because you never know.
Like,
sorry, what was that?
Which ones aren't? Because it seems
there's
so
literally a list,
smart.
and it's like 10 or 11 games. That's how little it is. They legit give a list. It's on the stream. Like if anybody's watching the video version, I'm literally looking at it right now. It's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's what's
Anything
listed.
major?
No. Unless you really liked We Sing because you like your karaoke.
Not at all.
So no, not particularly. So other than that, like almost like not every game, but some games will benefit from the console's game boost for the PS5, which just will make the games run better at a smoother frame rate. Like they said here, there could be some functionality errors because that's unforeseen shit. Like they're not literally playing every game on PS5 and seeing if everything works. They're not QA testing every game on the new console. It would just be impossible. They do say don't purchase add-ons for these games if you're going from PS4 to PS5 because you don't want this game to suddenly not work and then you spend money on it. That'd be a bad idea. And then, other than the stupid
Wait, so
shit,
the add-ons from PS4 are not transferable to PS5?
No, they're transferable. What they're saying is if you get a game and you transfer it, don't just immediately start buying add-ons for it. Make sure the game is functional fully on this thing before you start making that move. You don't want to spend money and then that part of the add-on doesn't work for some reason.
I respect them for having the balls to at least admit that instead of...
I do find it funny, too, that they also said, hey, if you're playing PSVR games, you actually do still require a VR headset. And I'm like,
yep,
no shit. Let's see.
Well, I don't know if you heard about the iPhone 12.
Well, yeah, you might need your own charger and phones, which is funny.
Yeah.
So don't worry. The iPhone 13 is going to just not come with the phone. Just so you guys know.
Yeah. A phone, battery, phone not included.
Yeah, you know.
Apple
it'll just be a box. It'll just be a box with a picture of like Apple CEO just like this.
Tim Cook. But it honestly is getting to the point now Apple is legitimately charging more for less. Like,
oh, they said that, oh, we're doing this because it's going to leave less of an environmental footprint.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bullshit. You're still going to send out chargers and phones or headphones to counter that. So no, you're not reducing your fucking your environmental shipping. You're just reducing your shipping costs.
So please, Apple users, please understand this. They make the shittiest charging cable, so they'll break, and you have to buy it. And you're pretty much like,
and now they're not even giving you one of the shitty cables.
And not only that, you know why they're not including the fucking headphones? Because they want you to buy the $250 AirPods. Yeah. So please, Apple is not doing anything.
Stop buying Apple products. Let's just straight up say it on the show. Stop buying Apple products. They've lost the right to have your business.
What?
Every corporation doesn't care about you, but Apple's made it pretty clear that they are the kings of not caring about you right now.
I will say this again, like Amazon's not no better. Amazon's not a good company.
No, Amazon actually seems to give a shit about their customers. They don't seem to care about their employees. That's different.
Yeah. So Amazon actually, like, we need Amazon, plain and simple. People can.
No, we don't need Amazon. Amazon needs us. Apple needs us. The difference is at least Amazon gives us a service that they don't ship us a package but forget to put the box in it.
Yep. Honestly, just please, everyone just find a way to stop supporting them.
It's not that hard. Buy an Android. Buy a laptop that's Windows. Or even buy a Chromebook. Fuck it. Who cares? I wouldn't say, actually, no, I retract that. Don't buy a Chromebook either. Just buy a PC.
I don't think the Photoshop abilities of Chromebook are going to be very good.
Either way. Going back to PS4 and to PS5. So The gist of it is that if you're going from discs versions, you basically just have to download an update when you put in the game disc, just so it's able to transfer that. If it's digital games, you can either go by Wi-Fi or by external storage. And otherwise, like, controllers seem to be all compatible as long as they're officially licensed controllers, whether it's third party or first. Pretty much all the other stuff will work with it. Even most of the buttons, like the share screen, will work. Some things are going to be a little weird about it. But most things are transferring just fine, which is exactly what we were hoping for. If you're going from PS4 to PS5, it's not going to hurt you that much. You're not losing shit, which is good. That's all you really want. So that's the good part. The bad part is that if you're playing on PS4 right now, it doesn't fucking work. Or at least some things don't fucking work. So they put out an update today, 8.0. It was supposed to add things like better integration for party chat and messaging to put that together. It was supposed to give you more avatars and stuff, like fun shit. The problem is it's now, for some reason, made it so that friends lists straight up don't appear, which is really hard then if you want to build parties, because you kind of need to have your friends list available. And then there's just a lot more error coding going on. So it's one of those things that it's like, it will get fixed shortly, like in the next couple of days, it will get a fix, but this is a pretty substantial problem for a major update on a console hardware. That's not good. That's really not good.
See, I find,
especially when in a month we're going from one console to another. OS transfers are going to be very interesting if this is the first if this might be the last major update they do on this console before PS5 comes out. It's not a good sign.
Well, I think it's the thing that I would say, like, it sucks, but it's very rare and it's not common that Sony makes errors like this. So
no, but it also makes it even more of a big deal when it does, because it shouldn't happen. Like, this is a pretty big thing. Like, your friends list is straight up broken. So the whole reason this update came in was for parties. It was going to completely change how you set up your party system. So if the friends list don't work, Sony, what was the update for? It's just one of those cases where it'd be one thing if the friends list didn't work and the update was more for, like, the store. Okay, it's two completely unrelated things. It just happened to break something. But this is literally related to the other thing. So there's no reason this should have been broken. Like, that should have been seen. Like, that should have been figured out. I don't know how they could have missed that. Like, that's really bad oversight.
I get it, but as I mentioned, I think it was just a one-off situation.
Oh, I'm not.
I think also, I think they brought it out to see the bugs and to see if it's working.
No, that's not what you do with a major software update. That's a firmware update. You don't check for bugs on a firmware update. You make sure that shit works.
That is true. I don't know. I think,
like, look,
again,
I'm not saying this is a make or break deal. Like, I'm not boycotting PlayStation now because of this update. I'm just saying, for a major company to do something like this is a pretty big fuck up. Like, that shouldn't be happening. That's something you expect from, like, Soulja Boy's console. Which, by the way, he has.
It's not Google Stadia, is it?
No, it's worse, actually.
Poyo?
No, even worse.
Oyo, or okay, I don't know, because I know my one friend bought an Oyo. We used it. It was fun.
You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the Soulja Boy console's even worse because it's straight up a ripoff. But anyways, we're digressing here. So, speaking of things that really isn't a big deal in the... Oh, Chris is in the chat too. Friggin' lurker. He can't even show up on the show, but he's friggin' sitting there in the chat. What a fucking piece of shit, eh?
God
Anyways,
damn it, Chris.
So this, again, in the long run, this issue isn't a big deal, but it's becoming one because it's just really going through social media and stuff. So we've talked about it before on the show. CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk is doing some major crunch time. And it's been going back and forth on if people knew about it or if it was just done mandatory without people's permission. Like, there's a whole bounce back and forth about it. That's not what we're here for. What I want to talk about, and we were going to talk about all three of us, but obviously Chris is too good to get on the show. Oh, Chris, worst podcast, rude. Shut the hell up, person who didn't even come on the show. Why don't you come on the stream, Chris, and friggin' voice your grievances? Oh, wait, you're not going to. Sorry.
What chat is he on? I don't.
Oh, he's
see
on
him
the
here.
Twitch chat.
Oh, okay.
But but at the end of the day, the issue that I want to go through is whether or not crunch is a big deal, or is crunch is actually a problem. So my simple answer to that is yes and no. The correct question to be asking is, how big of the crunch are we talking? Because crunch in the tech industry apparently is like as normal as it fucking gets. And at the same time, it depends on how long is this crunch going for? What are the hours for the crunch? Are you getting fully paid overtime for it? Because CD Projekt Red claims that they are getting fully paid for any bit of overtime they have, and they will be getting paid extra from the commissions from each sale of the game. Like, it's going to get pulled together and given to all the employees. That's their claim. That's a hell of a lot better than what a lot of companies do, because I guarantee you if EA did the same thing, they're only doing so much overtime and they're sure as shit ain't sharing profits. So my thing personally with crunch is I hate all types of crunch. I wish we didn't have to have crunch. However, I think there are some cases where I'm not nearly as predispositioned to be as upset about it, and it has nothing to do with the game. It has more to do with the actual crunch itself. I think there is a place for crunch because as any of us have to go through at any of the jobs we've ever held, sometimes you have to work late. Now, it may be more hours for them, but at the end of the day, if they're getting paid, and especially in the case of CD Projekt Red, if they're holding to their word and they're even getting a share of the profits, all these workers, then that's an extra incentive to do so. Now, if it's mandatory, I don't like that in any aspect, and that sounds to be what it was, because they keep claiming back and forth, again, going to the back and forth, that they gave people the choice. And that's been bouncing back and forth as well. If there's a choice, I'm okay with any kind of crunch, as long as it's not like like Japan level crunch where guys literally kill themselves over it. But if we're talking like, look, you're working 12-hour days and you can choose that, I'm okay with that ever getting paid with properly. As long as you have a choice in it.
Because the thing is, a lot of people would actually agree to it. Like the extra pay for a little bit of crunch
especially
time and
now,
grinding.
Honestly, especially now when you're not really seeing that many people anyway, you might as well make as much money as you can because the future's uncertain.
Yep. It's like I as long as you're getting like I've been in places where they expect you to work unpaid overtime, and you are kind of like shit.
As far as I'm concerned, unpaid overtime should be illegal. Straight up.
I agree.
There should be no aspect where you're ever expected to work longer than your agreed shift and not get paid, not compensated extra for it. That is an absolute bullshit fallacy.
I agree. And but again, it's the situation. It's like chances are, if someone's like, "Hey, we really want to get this going. We really are trying to, and we need you guys to stay longer, and we will pay you overtime for it." Most of the people, in my experience, would do it because there's been times that I have worked 50 hours a week, and it's not even the fact of getting the money for it. Sometimes you can get in lieu time where you can just use that extra time maybe for I don't know. A lot of the game industry is run by contracts, but if you're a salaried employee in the company, which I think it's happening sometimes nowadays, I don't think it's just a contract based pay, but it's like you could honestly get that lieu time as well. So it's like crunch now and it'll benefit you one way or another. And I really think if you ask people, a lot of them would actually say yes, because if you're in this field, you're doing it because you love it as well.
Yeah, and I mean at the same time too, it's gonna be hard to love something when if well, let's assume we're talking worst case scenario. Let's say it's like an EA or a Ubisoft or an Activision Blizzard right now, where you're not being given a choice, you're being forced, you're not gonna get paid overtime, or if you are, it's bare bones, but you're being put in shitty conditions, you're being constantly like yelled at. Because again, there's a lot of things going on with the CD Projekt Red stuff that's still That's why I don't want to talk too much about what's being talked about in the stories right now, because this is all speculation. This is all he said, she said. And I don't want to talk about all these things until we actually have a full story out there. I want to see that full expose. That's what I want first before I really go into depth on it. So I'm more just speaking in hyperbole in hypothetical situations here. So if it is the best case scenario, if you are being told, hey, look, we really want to get this game up by this date, we delay, because Cyberpunk's been delayed twice. So let's just use Cyberpunk as the example. So guys, I'm sorry, like this game has been delayed twice. We really want to hit this date. Are you guys okay with just crunching the last 6 weeks going into this so we can make sure this gets out? You will be paid overtime like you're supposed to be for any hours after 48 hours or whatever the law is out in Poland where the company is. You will be getting profit. We will be sharing like a percentage of the profits from all game sales. We will pool it together. All you will get paid an equal amount of it. And look, it's going to be 14-hour days, 5 days a week, or maybe even 6 days a week. You can opt into this and you can opt out at any time. If you can't take it anymore, we will accept that. And you can just opt out whenever you want. But if you can do this, we need you here as much as we can. If that's communicated to me fair. Like that, I will take that. But if it's literally my boss comes to my cubicle and says, hey, we're going to do crunch time. You're going to do 6 days a week, 14 hours. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. And you ask, how am I getting paid? Oh, we'll worry about that later. That's not good. That's not good. That's two completely different things.
No, and
that's kind of like the basis here. If it's option 1 or option 2, we have two completely different scenarios to go through, and that's my point here. I don't think crunch in any way should happen. If we had a perfect world, we would never have crunch. People would just wait for games to come out. Games would come out the time they're supposed to. But we live in a world where everybody always promises what they can't deliver. I know that. My job literally does this every day. We promise stuff to our customers that we can never deliver on time, so we rush like a motherfucker. Guys work overtime. We pull people from other departments into shit. It happens all the time. It's any place of employment. You promise something that you can't deliver. You work at a retail store, and you're trying to get the specific shipment of, I don't know, let's say bananas. And this farm outlet is like, oh shit, we're not going to make that specific shipment this week. Shit, we need, okay, you know what, guys? We got to work overtime to get just more bananas boxed up and gone to this truck and get it out. Oh crap, we need more drivers. Okay, sorry, you're going to have to do an extra shift this week just to get another truck in and out of this place as quickly as you can. Like, anywhere you go, this situation comes up. It's just the methodology of how it happens. If you ask me if I want to work overtime, more often than not, I will tell you yes, because you had the decency to ask. But when it's mandatory, when you don't have a choice, now we're talking a whole different ballgame.
The only time it's different is Black Friday and Boxing Day in retail environments, because those are chaotic days. But
I don't know. I disagree. I don't think there's never a case to make it has to be overtime.
You do get compensated though. Like it's
no. I'm not talking any excuses about it. I'm just saying if it's if the word is mandatory, no. There is no excuse. I don't care what the compensation is. I don't care even if the company is amazing to you, if you don't have a choice, that's the problem.
Okay. I get it. And I get it. And yeah.
Now, the fault, where does it go to? I lean still more in the eyes of corporations, but I think we are at a lot more fault than I think we give ourselves any credit for. If I was to put it on a scale, I think it's 70-30 for corporations versus us. Because you always have a corporate choice to just say, fuck it, we'll delay it. And companies do that all the time. However, it doesn't help that we sit there every day and go, I can't wait anymore for this game. I know, because I got bitchy on the show several times because PlayStation wouldn't even tell us the price. But the difference is I didn't say this has to happen or I will never buy it. I said this will happen. If this doesn't happen, I will just not buy it for a little bit of time. But the problem is there are guys that will sit there and be like, no, you can't delay this game. You can't delay this. It's like, yeah, you can. It's very easy, actually. If the game's not ready, it shouldn't come out. And we've seen a million times. And this is to gamers, by the way. I'm not talking to corporations on this one. This is to you gamers. How many games have we seen come out and have been a fucking mess? Mass Effect Andromeda, Assassin's Creed Unity, Duke Nukem Forever, Aliens Colonial Marines. I can go on.
See,
How many times do we have to have this happen before we realize maybe a game should get delayed when it needs to be?
See, my only issues with the 70-30 blame, I honestly think the majority of the blame is put onto the corporation, because it's not even just the fact of like corporate responsibility. It's like a lot of them, and we know with Ubisoft, with Blizzard, with EA, they're that terrible of fucking people, and they know they exploit the fact that they'll be like, oh, do it or you're fired, or do it and this is it. And then they know they have their own corporate lawyers and everything to basically destroy somebody if there's some sort of revolt or anything. And it's just a fucking horrible thing and way to just essentially manipulate or just basically control somebody. It's full out manipulation. It's full out like just slave driving.
Look,
Literally.
I agree with everything you're saying. The problem is again, I feel like when you want to say that it's all corporate or it's mostly corporations, the reason I put it at 70-30 is because we as gamers seem to have zero culpability to ourselves. The reality is corporations would not be this greedy if we weren't as fucking gullible.
Well, it's like Smash Brothers Brawl when it first came out for Wii, it got delayed I think 3 times.
And did people still buy it?
It's honestly my favorite Smash Brothers.
And yeah, answer my question. Did people still buy it in droves?
Very much so.
So then what's the point in not delaying it? Why not just keep delaying it? That's the thing. People know that I'm not like gamers in general just need to stop fucking playing this game of I need it now. I need it now. I need it now. You got to fucking stop that shit. Guys, there are a million fucking games on the market. We get games for free on PlayStation every time. You can get Xbox Game Pass for cheap and have a massive collection of games to go through.
Yep.
We got to stop this shit of thinking, I need this one thing and I need it right away. Guys.
Epic Game Store gives away games
exactly.
every fucking week.
Steam gives away shit for free all the time. Humble Bundle has these crazy prices for stuff. The problem is you have this specific sect of gamers that are literally just these couple of things on the schedule and refuse to move from it. They want these games, and they will not budge. They don't care how bad the game will be. Also, they said, oh, you promised me this date. It has to be this date now. Look, I'm mad as fuck that Cyberpunk got delayed twice. I was really fucking mad. I booked time off this year for the original date in March or May or whatever it was, or April.
That's actually the shittiest part, because you booked off time.
Shit, I got 2 days off still. Oh, no, woe is me. But I'm still upset when a game gets delayed, but I don't go to fucking social media and I don't pitch a hissy fit because a game is suddenly going to take longer to make. What I see now is, okay, they recognize this game is not ready, which means they're trying to get this game out in an actual good form, which for a company like CD Projekt Red, to me, means that they're actually giving a shit. And most companies wouldn't do that because EA would rush that shit out the door, because that's what Mass Effect Andromeda was.
And the other thing is honestly, guys, I don't know. For me, I don't think I'm gonna buy a game at launch again unless they're very special releases. But do you really want to spend that full price right away? Why not wait a little bit?
The answer to them is yes. I need it. They're junkies. They can't help themselves.
That is true. I just again, I look at it as like, I don't see myself buying a brand new game on release. And frankly, if it's a game that you're going to play like for the year, I get it. Like there's a lot of times a game like Halo and even some sports games, that's all people play. And if it's that one game you're buying for the year, yeah, maybe buy it right away. But if it's a game that you don't need to play right away, like I had a few games. I had Call of Duty World War II that I played in this year, that I finished this year. It was sealed, and I did buy it the year it came out. It was sealed.
Well, I mean, look, it's when you say nobody needs to play these games. They want to. The problem is there are these people, and a lot of this has to do with like mental issues and insecurities and shit like that, where they're so like they put everything they have, and I know this because I used to be someone who did this. They put everything they have, their heart and soul, into these games because it's the only thing they have, and I get that. Believe me, again, like I said, used to be that person. Now, it's like, holy shit, I don't need to put everything in my life to a single game or to a subset of games. Like, guys, just because Cyberpunk didn't come out in April didn't mean your life was over. Because a lot of other shit came out around that time. And a lot of shit came out after that time. And a lot of shit also went down in price around that time. A lot of shit went for free that time. There's so much more else. If you're just willing to step out of your fucking little bubble for a moment and just try something you normally wouldn't. Fucking try a Yakuza game. Fucking try an Assassin's Creed game if you haven't for a while. The newer games are not too bad. Try, like, go out here, try indie games. Go and try fucking games you literally go on the PlayStation Store one day, hit new, and then just scroll down and check the trailers for all these things and just try and find something.
There's some legendary games that are available on the PlayStation Store for dirt cheap.
There's like Steam, Xbox, all these options.
Play Smash Brothers because you know what? It's infinitely playable.
Yeah, but you're gonna pay infinite for anyway. I'm talking like if people are so like up to like go out of the mainstream. Fuck, like Crosscode is an amazing game for those who miss like the old like Secret of Mana days. And very few people know about that game because again, it's the indie scene. It's really hard for these games to go big. There's so much out there, and we're so hell bent.
Play Trails of Cold Steel 3 and go through the emotional roller coaster.
Well, if you're not a JRPG guy, I wouldn't suggest Trails of Cold Steel. So you know, but all the stuff that gets buried in the pile of games, because we live in an age now where there are way too many games for us. And the fact that there is such a large group of gamers that are so pigeonholed to this specific few games every year. It's like, guys, fucking step out of your comfort zone for once. Holy shit. And for God's sakes, if a game isn't going to come out when you think it is, chill out. And if a game ends up coming out when you thought it was and ends up being a little bit shitty, that's your fault because you guys keep demanding that these games come out ASAP. We have created this because we expect games to be out every 2-3 years. That's why Assassin's Creed is a game every year. Call of Duty is a game every year because we demand that constant fucking drug in our system.
Yeah, and guess what?
That's why I say it's 70-30, Vish. That's why I say it's 70-30. It is all the corporation's decision at the end of the day, but it's our fault that we gave them that option to pick in the first place. Because if we could fucking relax, if we could have a little bit of patience, they wouldn't rush everything out the door, and they wouldn't make that horrible decision every single time to go crunch. Because that's all they know, because all they know is we have to get it out as soon as possible or people will complain. Because that's our fault, and we have to own that shit and start taking some responsibility for that. In the same reason that we need to stop pre-ordering so much, because that's our fault. We need to stop buying seasons passes and DLC and fucking all this bullshit that gets shoved down our throats. We need to stop doing that because, yes, corporations fuck us, but if we stop doing that, they have no fucking financial gain to do it. We need to collectively stop. We can't get everybody to do it. But for God's sakes, if we all just stop freaking out on social media and on Reddit and on every fucking place in the world, every time a game is slightly delayed, then they'd stop worrying about telling us to delay it. That's all it would be. And in the end, crunch happens because we can't stop bitching and complaining and moaning.
And also, life's too fucking short, and this isn't a big deal. It really isn't. And
that's why I said at the top, crunch really isn't that big a deal in the end of it, but it's been made one because, again, we have to make everything into a big deal now.
Well, the thing is, crunch, it depends how they're handling it.
Yeah.
if
That's
they're
what I said.
handling
That's what we went through.
no,
right?
if they're handling ethically properly, it's fine. If they're like slave driving it, go fuck yourself.
But again, as gamers, we also need to recognize that slave driving in the game industry is a product of us. We caused it because we allow it. Because we would rather have a game out as soon as we can get it than worry about other people's fucking mental health.
Yeah, and
That's
again,
the reality.
The only real delay I can certainly say in my recent memory was Smash Brothers Brawl, and in the end, it came out and it was fucking awesome.
There are so many delays out there. Every other game has some sort of delay. The problem is that most people forget about it because, again, when a delay happens, all people go is like, okay, but now that's the day it has to come out. That's immediately what happens every fucking time.
And then also, like, I wish Avengers got delayed. Plain and simple.
I don't think any amount of delaying fixes Avengers. Because Avengers isn't a buggy game. Avengers, there's nothing delaying could do that could fix it.
It's just a bad game.
It's just a bad structurally made game.
And also another, you know what? It wouldn't make a difference. Is Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, because that game just plain and simple doesn't look finished.
I've seen what I've seen of it. I don't think it's any different. I think it's just a fighting game that didn't appeal to certain subsects of the fighting game community.
It legitimately it doesn't. The fighting in it is fine. The game itself just doesn't look finished. It looks like it was done halfway.
You're talking the arcade modes, right? The fact that there's like no like ending thing.
It's not even like even like the co-op fighting and like fighting each other. Like the game itself just looks like it was half, like 75% done. They're like, good enough. Just send it out.
I wouldn't say that that's like.
If you look at the visual aesthetics and the,
I wouldn't say it's unfinished. It just says they were lazy. I don't think unfinished is the right word. I think it was just lazy development. It
was, because Marvel's Capcom 3 was fucking fantastic. Where this one was, it just looked, everything about it was garbage. Everything about it was garbage.
So yeah, I mean, long story short, I hate all types of crunch. Like I've said just a couple of times here, I hate all types of crunch. There are justifiable types of crunch, and there are not. However, we cannot keep laying the blame of crunch at the feet of corporations, because we share equal blame in that. I only say 70-30 because if I go 50-50, then it'll make corporations think they can get off the hook.
Yep.
But the reality is,
we
play a lot bigger part in this than we admit, ever.
I would even say 80-20.
Again, I'm not fighting the numbers, but
okay.
The reality is we should be blaming ourselves a lot more than we do. And by we do, I mean we don't. We think that we are literally just on the outside and it's all the corporations. No. We are a major part of why this shit happens in the industry.
Yeah. It's a fucking shitty thing. That's plain and simple it. And yeah. So
to finish off, this is not an actual story. I mean, it's related to what I talked about earlier with the new update for PlayStation 4. So this is more of just, again, like something that needs to be said, and I will continue to say on the show if it comes up again. So another thing that happened with this update is that party chats from now on are being recorded. Or at least that's what people think. PlayStation, for what we know, might have actually been recording its parties since 2013. The difference is they've now been upfront of it as of today, and they now brought in the tools that people can use clips of party chat to report people with. Because what could be possibly said in a PlayStation party chat, or game chat for that matter, in any video game that might be reportable? I can't imagine anything that has ever been spoken out of the mouth of a gamer to be fucking worth a report.
Like, yeah. Like I said,
I don't normally do this, but I have to call out the Kotaku in Action subreddit. I'm on both Kotaku in Action and Gamergazi, which I consider to be two extremes of different sides of the political spectrum, both related to gaming, or pop culture as a whole. Kotaku in Action seems to believe that this is censorship, and that this is something that shouldn't be happening in this industry, that shouldn't be happening on their consoles. To which I say, what shouldn't be happening? Are you seriously saying that it's okay to spew racist and sexist shit in a PlayStation party?
Yeah, you know what this is? It's the fucking dumbass old school people who are being like, back in my day, people weren't.
No,
so
this isn't old
sensitive."
school. This is young people too. This is
No,
literally.
but this is the mentality.
But it's not an old school mentality. It's a specific political ideology mentality. Old school has nothing to do with it because we're old school and we don't support this shit. So I've seen a lot of posts. I've seen a lot of comments on this shit, and I see a lot of the same things. Like, oh, well, now what are they going to come for next? Motherfucker, if you're being a fucking Nazi in the chat, if you're calling people N-words, if you're talking about gassing the Jews, if you're talking about how women don't belong in the industry, if you're talking all that shit, and these are not things I'm saying are quotable, I'm just giving examples here. This is all hypotheticals. Well, no, you can be there. But if you're doing it with people that don't support that shit, they have well within the right to report you. If you want to do that shit so bad, make sure the people in your party are only the people that would be happy with that. If you want your little bubbles, I don't give a shit because I won't be in that party. I don't have to hear it. I know you exist, but at least I'm not listening to it.
Yep.
But if I have the misfortune of going into a party, because I have friends who I chat with on PlayStation. I know it's shocking I have friends. I know. But yeah, I go into these parties and sometimes random people I've never met before come into that party. And if one of them happens to talk about how homosexuals, for example, should be fucking killed off, I'm reporting that motherfucker. Yeah. Whether I was bisexual or not, if I was heterosexual, I'd still report that piece of shit. Because that shit shouldn't be a thing.
No, it shouldn't. It's like...
If you're comfortable doing that with random people, that's fucking also terrifying.
It's not as bad anymore, but video games were a really somewhat of an outcast hobby.
That's the best part. Isn't it so funny that it used to be an outcasted thing and now we outcast people constantly?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like these are people who had a hard time finding a place to fit in, finding a place to belong, and now they try to find it. And a lot of times
they don't want women to belong in this community. Amazing. The same guys that complained all their lives that they couldn't get a fucking date, but now they don't want women in their fucking hobby, which would increase your chances of getting that fucking date, you stupid moron.
Whenever we go to EGLX or Comic-Con, Fan Expo, whenever we go to any of the cons, when we did, unfortunately, who knows when the fuck's that's going to happen again. Whenever we went there, we were always like, I always say, I'm like, dude, honestly, if I meet a girl here, I may just propose her on the spot.
When we go to EGLX every year, or when I go to Com Bravo, which is another convention I go to every year before obviously COVID happened, every time I walk around, if I take a head count, it is guaranteed 75% men every fucking time. Now, here's the thing. If we're talking EGLX, for example, let's say it's just as a blanket number, it's 75% men and 25% women. Here's the problem, and I apologize against the trans people, but because I can't assume. I'm just visually what I'm seeing is male and female, right? So if it's 75%,
there's a lot of cross playing nowadays.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it's just, if I'm literally just visualizing and I'm seeing 75% people that look male and 75% that look female, not even that 25% is just regular girls walking around. How much of that percentage of 25% is literally the models or the staff that you see there that are all dressed up to look nice, or cosplayers, or all these people? Then that number reduces even more significantly. I'd say if you're not counting people that are standing at the booths or cosplayers that are walking around getting pictures taken of them all the time, you might have at best 10 to 15% of actual just women walking around as fans. And as a guy who used to struggle as a teenager getting a date, good fucking lord, I would kill for that 10% to suddenly become 20, let alone what it should be, which is as even as it can fucking get.
To be entirely honest, I want that diversity there, especially because, you know what? It will not only help the guys get us get dates, the younger generation, but you know what? It'll become more accepting.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's even putting the dates aside. Look, I don't want diversity for any political aspiration or social fucking aspiration. I want diversity because I would love gaming to be completely normal. I would love, as a person who used to be outcasted his entire childhood, I was bullied incessantly all the way up to about the age of 16.
You're preaching to the choir, dude.
I would love for no one to ever feel what I felt growing up. I would love to that to never happen again, or if it did, to be such a fucking rarity. And instead, we culture this fucking consistent paranoia that people have that because girls or black people or trans people or gay people will come into a community and will ruin it. That's their paranoia. Yeah. Just by existing, they ruin it.
This is honestly not even like, I'm not even, this may sound exaggerated, but it's not. This is just as bad as when schools were segregated. It really is, because you're
No, it's not just as bad.
It's not, but you're stopping someone.
But it is very much an equivalency to the same thing.
You're denying somebody for doing a basic thing. Something totally normal, something that is just basically like available to them for a stupid fucking reason.
And if you go as far as to say that you don't want this shit in gaming, you're not stopping there. Let's be honest here. If you don't want women in gaming, just as an example, you clearly don't want women in power. You clearly want women to be subservient to you. Because if you can't even get them to enjoy something with you, clearly you just don't want them to enjoy anything. So this isn't you want to protect gaming, it's you hate women. Let's not kid ourselves here. If you can't stand the fact that a woman is writing about a video game, whether it's in a light that you don't like or not, let's not even take that into consideration. Just if you can't stand the fact that a woman has a thought about games, because I'll go all the way back to my example with Anita Sarkeesian. I fucking hate the bitch. Still do. I can't wait. I just wanted to go at some point and watch some of her old videos again, just to see if I still didn't like them. But the same thought that I always had watching these things was, she shouldn't get to have that opinion. My thought was fuck her and fuck her opinions. But my thought was never take that opinion away from her. She shouldn't be allowed in this community. It was never what I thought.
It was about the opinion, not about the individual.
I thought she was full of shit. I thought she was a bitch. That's what I thought. I didn't go, she doesn't belong here. She shouldn't be here. I went, fuck. Why does, like, the worst thought that I could have possibly had is like, man, why does she have to be here and try to ruin this? I don't go, she shouldn't be here. That's so stupid.
I remember like back when arcades were a thing, and I miss those days.
Yeah, don't get me started about how our local arcade is getting closed down. That's a fucking depressing moment. It's just 2020 wasn't bad enough.
Yeah, I know.
My childhood is withering away before my fucking eyes.
The thing is, we saw him in the rec room yet, so, and that's supposed that from I've been, but I haven't got a chance to play games. But it's Dave and Buster's and Dave.
I mean, if the rec room closes down, I'll also be depressed because man, that fucking place is good food.
No, actually, I think rec room is So I'll get back to that story after the show with you, but back in the arcade days, it was. I literally saw no fucking women in there. I remember one time 3 girls from my high school were at the arcade while I was playing Marvel vs. Capcom, and I'm like, this is weird. And just because like they don't go there.
When you see girls in an arcade when we were growing up, it was because they were little kids.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, we were too young to differentiate that, but if you're ever talking like once you get to teens, ooh. Most I can't remember a lot of people at my school when I was growing up in high school talking about video games that were female. It was it was like a fucking unicorn.
Unless it was Pokemon, because a lot of them got into Pokemon, but
still, actually, you know what? Even then, I don't remember hearing much.
Like for me and my sister, because like I was the older brother, like she got into a few of this, like she loves Mario, and she got into a few of the into the games I was playing, but she was never like the only game I have ever seen her finish beginning to end is Paper Mario for Wii. The only game I have literally ever seen her finish beginning to end, and she actually does really like Mario, and she did play Pokemon as well. Like me and we were talking about our favorite Pokemon. Like there's a difference. There's Pokemon you like in general, but then there's also Pokemon in the game that you prefer. Like Some of those are, never mind. Gyarados is on both spectrums. Gyarados is awesome, and Gyarados is awesome in the game as well. And then, like, of course, everyone's favorite is Pikachu, but in the game, Pikachu is really a very standard Pokemon. But yeah, no, it's like nowadays, it's getting better, and the balance and the diversity is growing in it. But you know what? Don't go out of your way to fucking exclude people, because like Adam said, this has nothing to do with them tarnishing your fucking hobby, or I'm sorry, our hobby.
Because by the way, the number of women that have been playing video games has upped a lot since we were like kids. And you know how many amazing games we still have every year?
Yep.
No amount of women in this industry is going to suddenly make games shit. The only way that enough women in this industry would make the game shit would be if literally 99% of the industry was women. And even then, we'd still get some fucking bangers. But it'd be harder for us guys to associate with a lot of these games, because if 99% of the industry is women, they're making games for women.
Yep.
So it would be harder. But guess what? That's not what it is. And if it was even, we'd have plenty of shit still.
Mm-hmm.
Because not every game is made for me. Not every game is made for Vish. And not every game is made for you.
Like, Adam is a huge JRPG fan, and for myself, I just don't have the time or the commitment to play a JRPG, because I just think it's too much for my taste.
But you don't go around going, well, the Japanese should be making games because they make JRPGs.
Well, okay, whoever says that, I don't.
No. I'm not. I'm just making that equivalent. Like, they're saying, oh, you can't play this. Like, I'm not going to play this game because a woman made it. That's like saying, oh, I don't like JRPGs, so I'm not going to play anything the Japanese make because of that.
Yeah, one of my favorite games on the PS3 was Tomb Raider. That was.
I mean, for fuck's sakes,
amazing.
you're a big Uncharted guy. The I think it was the story writer for the Uncharted series for the first 3 games was a woman.
I never knew that, but that's amazing.
I'm gonna double check that, because I know who she is, and she's a major part of Uncharted. I just can't remember.
And those stories are actually extremely complex. And
yeah, Amy Hennig. She is the scriptwriter from which Uncharted games was it? It was 1, 2, and 3. She was the creative director and writer for those 3 games. Which, by the way, a lot of people call Uncharted 2 one of the best games ever. Yeah. Done by a woman.
Yep.
Checkmate.
One of the best games on the PS3 of that generation. And
was also the director and writer for the Legacy of Kain games, was the director for Jak 2. Was also a designer and artist for Michael Jordan Chaos in the Windy City on the Super Nintendo. Oh shit, this girl's been around.
Please don't cancel us.
But legit, no. And that's just one example off the top of my head, right?
And like, people can talk about like the whole bitching thing about like they're probably going to go more and more and more into having more diversity, and possibly doing what they were doing with Wonder Woman and with Black Widow and with Captain Marvel, going out of their way to have a female director and a prominent female support cast and crew to create it, because you know what? It's unfortunate time where it needs to happen for it to be considered normal as well. So there could be a chance that there could be maybe Tomb Raider could get rebooted again, and they want to make it in a way that it's a majority female cast and crew doing it.
Sorry, it was really weird out here. We had some stream issues where you were frozen, but you weren't in Discord. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I just quickly unchecked the box for you and checked it back on, and it's like working now. I'm like, okay.
Okay, should I start again?
No, you're fine. No, you didn't freeze. Like, we heard everything. It's just on the stream, your face was frozen, even though on Discord it wasn't. So it's one of the weirdest things I've seen in a while.
Yep. I really hope when I get the new webcam that this will...
It's not you. This one was not you at all. This is me for some reason. That's the thing. Okay. I don't know what happened, because the stream is fine. The stream is completely fine. My camera is going completely fine, and your like the Discord feed stopped. It's one of the... I've never seen it do that before. Tech issues on this fucking podcast, I tell you.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If I don't have tech issues before we start the podcast, that's what's wrong. Something's wrong there if I don't have tech issues.
But you know what's wrong? excluding people in gaming. And going all the way back to what I said, to the very beginning, because we went on a tangent, because I know, shocking, we went on a tangent. They've always been they've always been recording our party chats. That's never not been a thing. If you think that your phone calls aren't being listened to in any aspect, if your Discord chats aren't being listened to, or if you think your Skype calls or your Zoom calls, if you think none of this stuff is being recorded somewhere and just not being seen, because that's two different things. If you think any of this stuff, your fucking Facebook chats, video chats that you do with people where you're fucking showing your dick off and you're each touching yourselves as a couple, oh, believe me, it's being recorded. Somebody may never see it, but it's being recorded. It's always being recorded somewhere. The reality is this update, PlayStation was upfront about it. They said straight up, hey, where we're going to be recording all these party chats, no one's going to probably look at them. Let's be completely honest. Nobody's listening to them unless it's reported.
And you know what? I think it's going to need multiple reports, because if somebody does it like once or twice as a joke.
Well, no, but if it's reported, I would hope that it gets checked. I would hope that it's not just taking Scout's honor. Because I don't think that every single person gets reported the second they're reported once. Mm-hmm. It's when it's mass reported. Now, if literally a person goes into chat, because by the way, PlayStation parties can be up to 16 people. If you go into a chat of 16 people and 15 people all decide fuck you, and they just decide to report you, okay, yeah, there's going to be an issue there. But generally speaking, if you're going into a party in PlayStation, more often than not, you probably know at least somebody in it. It's pretty rare that you go into like completely random stranger stuff, because not every game does that. More like, it's very few games. Like Destiny is one of the few games I can think of off the top of my head. But more often than not, you're not getting into massive party chats with people, so you're safe.
Yeah.
If you're not talking shit, like, and I'm not talking shit like, lol, you suck. No, I'm talking like, if a black person's in your party and you're gonna be like, sit down, you fucking N-word. That's if you're saying that shit, you deserve a report. If you're not saying that shit, then you're fine. Stop worrying about censorship.
Yeah, because this isn't censorship. It's being a fucking decent person.
It's just policing people that really shouldn't be on these platforms. In the same vein that every private platform, by the way, like YouTube, because they're private platforms, if you do something that they don't like, they have reason to kick you off.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
If you're a racist piece of shit on any service and they don't want you to be a racist piece of shit on their service, they can kick you off.
Yeah. I'll give you two examples, everyone. Donald Trump has had his tweets flagged by Twitter. This is the current president of the United States. Hopefully not the future.
You're just some dumb shit gamer, so you certainly are not going to get any special treatment.
Oh, and also, David Duke had his YouTube channel taken off.
So again, it's a fucking PlayStation party, guys. Just don't be a piece of shit in there. You can let's be honest. My group of friends that I usually play with, we'd say some pretty heinous shit.
Oh, our careers would be ruined. Like, I can think of at least 3 times.
Dude, me and one of the guys in that chat, we're both bi. We call each other faggots constantly because it's funny. But if I did that to somebody else in the party who doesn't like that and got offended, I would not be offended by them reporting me.
Yeah.
It's just,
I get that.
I can't believe it's so difficult for people to understand that.
Try not to. It's that one meme. Try not to be a cunt, Buddha.
I know, right? But yeah.
People have to be cunts. What can I say?
People are always cunts.
Yes.
So,
and
this has been the VCR podcast, I think. I think this is a good place to sign off by telling you not to be a cunt.
Yes.
I like that.
The title of today's episode, Don't Be a Cunt.
I definitely not. That is definitely not going to be the title of this week's episode. But yeah, this has been the VCR podcast. Thank you so much for checking us out. Hopefully we will have the full roster next week. It's possible we might not. You never know.
I think we're good. I think we're gonna be good next week.
Hey, I don't want to make promises I don't keep. Otherwise, we might have to crunch for this next podcast.
Or you can just run for president.
The Millennial Party of Canada. Look, I may be an asshole, but I'm your asshole.
Yep, and you know what? That's okay.
This has been the VCR Podcast, guys. Thank you so much for checking us out. We will see you next week, hopefully at 8 p.m. Eastern, like our normal time is. We've been kind of late a couple of weeks, but, you know, such is life.
Yeah. You know what? There's worse things going on. Good night, everyone. Take care.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for checking us out, and we will see you next week when...
This episode is presented in VR.
Hopefully there'll be a couple of nicer things to talk about. Otherwise, it's just another normal fucking day where everything is depressing. Yay!
Everybody fucks. Da-da-da.
Oh man, can you imagine like the nega version of that song? Everything is fucked up.
Oh no, I was thinking Everybody Fucks by Akon.
Oh no, I thought we were doing Everything is Awesome and we were doing the opposite. Whatever.
No.
We fucked this part up. I'm done. The show's over. Fuck you guys. We're going home. Later. Right. We'll see you next week. Fuck all y'all. Bye.
Yeah.